Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, you fantastic people wherever you are. Welcome to Chibi Reads Reddit. I'm your host, Chibi99. Today's subreddit is r/best Redditor Updates, but this is one whole story, and it's really long. So sit back, get cozy, grab a drink, and let's read. Sister-in-law is bitter her ex proposed to me, and this got her banned from her family. Am I the dingus here for this? And this is considered ongoing. This may be a little confusing, but I will try to make it as clear as possible. My 27 female fiance's ex is now my older brother's wife, so my sister-in-law. To make this less confusing, my fiance is George, my brother is David, and my sister-in-law is Ella. George, 38 male, briefly dated Ella, 34 female, 4 years ago. Ella wanted to get married and have kids, but George did not want this with her. He was also having a lot of issues back then, partying, doing drugs, and not being the most reliable person. They dated for 6 months, and everything ended in drama because Ella was not able to make George want to settle with her. Soon after their breakup, she met my brother, and they got married 6 to 7 months later. So yeah, they moved really fast, and basically Ella dated her ex, broke up with him, met my brother, and got married to him. Everything in only 1 year and a couple of months. I met George 2 years ago, and at the time, Ella was already married to my bro. Back then, I had no idea that George was Ella's ex. When George started to feel attracted to me, he changed completely. He quit drinking and doing drugs. He's been sober ever since. Started going to therapy, and overall became a new person. He did this because he wanted to change, and I have been with him during his entire healing journey. I am very proud of him, and we have a healthy and amazing relationship. Even if Ella was already married to my brother, she was furious when she found out I was dating George and that he was serious with me. She was so cruel and said a lot of nasty lies. She used to tell everyone that George was grooming me. I was 25 when we became a thing and he was 36. This is not grooming, for frick's sake. She lied that George was abusing me, trying to get me to become an addict like him, and many other things. This ruined my relationship with my brother because he never did anything to make her stop. George and I announced our engagement to my family last week during my dad's birthday. My parents were happy for us, but Ella said it must be nice to be the one to get the ring after someone else struggled to fix him. Again, no reaction from my brother as usual. My parents told her to stop, but I just snapped and told her something along the lines, "He fixed himself, you piece of crap." And yes, it is nice to know that I will be married to the man I love more than anything and who loves me the same. But how is it for you knowing that no one else except my idiot brother ever wanted to marry you? Doesn't feel nice. My parents kicked them out after this. They told her that everybody has had enough of her bullcrap. She is insane because, although being married, she's still bitter over the fact that her ex did not want her. She is officially banned from every family event, and my brother is now blaming me. So, am I the dingus in this situation? I don't think I am, honestly, but I also want to hear some unbiased perspective. And I'm going to give some of my point of view before we go into the update. Yeah, something is definitely wrong with Ella for her to be still hung up over the fact that George is with you and now that he's proposed to you. And your brother has the rose-tinted glasses on, or something else is going on. Because this is not normal. But great comeback, OP. You are definitely not the dingus, not in my book. And hopefully we find out what happens to your brother in the update. Let me see here. Updated 3 to 4 days later. This update will be very long, so if you don't want to waste time reading the first part, you can skip directly to the update. Thank you so much for all your comments and reaching out to me. I don't know what I expected when I posted. I guess I wanted to receive some unbiased feedback from an outside perspective, but I never expected this. I was really overwhelmed with how kind and nice most of you were, so once again, thank you, and sorry for not being able to reply to all the comments. For those who were not on the same page, I understand and respect that you have a different opinion. For my initial post, I have left out a lot of details because it's a long story. But some of you were curious about what actually happened and asked me to provide more details, so buckle up. I will do just that. How I met my future husband. Kind of sounds like a spinoff of How I Met Your Mother. I got asked a lot if I live in a trailer park or a small town with only a bar available. The answer is no. We actually live in a big city with a population of a couple million people. I met my fiancé through a mutual friend. My girlfriend was dating one of George's colleagues, and they all began to hang out for drinks after work. And since they were all in the same building, at some point I had no plans for that day, and my girlfriend invited me to go with them to a bar, and this is how we were introduced. After this, we started having different group activities together, and things slowly progressed. George targeted his ex's younger sister-in-law to spite her. There's no coincidence that we started dating. It is as absurd as it may sound, it is indeed an ironic coincidence. You may think, out of the millions of people there are in a city, what are the chances for you to start dating your sister-in-law's ex? Well, it happened to me, and we did not know about it at the beginning. The girlfriend that asked me to go with them to the bar did not know Ella, never saw her in real life, and she never saw her with George. When George met me, he had no idea that I had any connection to Ella, so there was no chance for him to be an evil mastermind and initially date me just to spite her. I did not take George home to meet my family immediately either. Maybe I am a weird one, but I was never the type to parade my boyfriends in front of my parents if I was not sure that the relationship was going to last. I broke the girls' code. I do not consider that I did. Let's be clear. I have a couple of true friends. They have been my friends for many years, and I would do anything for them. I'm a very loyal person, and I know the girls' code very well. When we eventually found out the connection Ella had with both of us, I was shocked and asked the same thing that many of you did. What are the chances? It was a very uncomfortable position to be in. Even though I had no relationship with Ella, except the obvious one of her being my sister-in-law, it was strange how that they dated. I wanted to find out what happened before taking any decision, and I did. The way I saw things, there was no reason for me to punish George for having a past. We were in love, we were happy, and Ella was already married to my brother. I may have been selfish, but I thought this man and our relationship worth it, and the answer was yes. To me, he was, is, and always will be worth it. Also, we see my brother and Ella only a couple times per year. Most of the times for obvious reasons. We prefer to visit my family separately. George's addictions. So many of you reached out to me being concerned about this, and I wanted to thank you for caring and say I'm sorry you had to go through traumatic experiences with addicts. Some of your stories were hard to read, and I appreciate immensely that you were open to share your experiences with a stranger. I understand why most of you were triggered by my story, but George was not that type of addict. He had a lot of unresolved trauma. He was lonely, unloved, and ashamed, so his coping mechanism was parties, alcohol, and drugs. His entourage was not also the best. You can imagine that a bunch of 36-year-old party boys and girls with no good, but at the end of the day, when everyone else went home to their families, wives, and kids, there were people who could provide company to George. I think it was more like all of them providing company to each other so they could feel less lonely. But other than this, George was a functional adult. He had a stable, well-paying job. He was and still is working as a software engineer. He never was violent, and etc. George changed for me. No, George changed for himself because he wanted to. He told me that I was the trigger that made him want to get his life in order, but in a more meaningful way than just wanting to get into my pants. When we started hanging out as a group with my friend and his colleague, he learned how easy it is to interact and have fun without drugs or alcohol. He also saw that I enjoyed spending time with him. I looked forward to seeing him every time, and he understood that his sober self is not unlovable. He was longing for healthy relationships and normality, but until that moment, he felt like he was not deserving to have them. I think the way I helped him was solely because I saw him and fell in love with his true self, and that gave him confidence and purpose. I am the golden child. There is no such thing in our family. My parents loved my brother and I the same. Of course, when they heard I was bullcrap the first time, they were worried for me, but I was open with them. I told them how things happened. George was honest and never hid his troubled past from them. and in the end they were okay with our relationship. My parents trust me, trust my judgment, and they only want to see me happy. And in regards to Ella, my parents are just doing what every parent should: defend their child. She was warned before. My parents talked to her, asked her to stop acting like this, and told her she is out of line. So it's not like they kicked her out the first time it happened. Now, into the update. Yesterday I contacted my brother and asked him to meet me for coffee. It was only the two of us, and I think it was the first time I have opened my heart like this in front of him. I started off by apologizing for him being caught in the middle, but I told him I will never apologize or be sorry for loving George. I was honest and told him how much this situation has been affecting me. My brother is the same age as my fiancé, so 11 years older than me. During our childhood, he was my protector, the person I looked up to. Due to our age difference, we never really had many activities in common, and I could not wait for the moment I grew up so I could get to share more with my brother as adults. But I did not get the chance to do this because of Ella. David would always teach me to value myself, to choose people who treat me right and make me happy. However, I am not able to share my happiness with him anymore. I understand why he will wish I never met George, but it still hurts knowing that your own brother somehow resents the source of your happiness. David would always defend me when I was younger, even in front of our parents. When I was 15, I was experimenting with makeup, and it looked bad. Really bad. During a family function, one of our uncles got drunk and told me to stop using makeup because I was too young to look like a hooker. David got mad and kicked him out for offending his sister. This is the kind of brother he used to be, and to now see that he stays aside and allows his wife to be offensive and cruel is really hurtful. I do not care if she's like that towards me. I don't like Ella at all, and I could easily ignore her. But what gets me the most is that she's constantly trying to belittle me and humiliate my future husband. I have lived with this man for 2 years. I have shared so many things with him during this time, and I am certain I know better because of what kind of man he is. I know how hard it is for him to heal all his trauma. I know how hard he worked day by day to become the best version of himself. I know how much he loves me, protects me, supports me, and I simply lose it when I hear her crap and how she is constantly trying to bring him down. Yes, I go bear mode when he is involved, and as someone told me in the comments, but I don't care. I will not allow my family members to abuse the person I love. I may have tolerated things for my brother's sake, but I will never be quiet in front of his witch of a wife. I told my brother that I love him and I always will cherish the moments I have with him, but we cannot go on like this. I understand he is a victim, and I am ready to do anything for him if he is willing to accept that his marriage is not good, that Ella is not a good woman and is abusing him. I cannot force him to divorce her because this has to be his choice, but I told him I will accept his decision no matter what it is. He will always be my brother, but George is my family now. We plan on having kids in the near future, and there is no way in hell I will ever allow his lunatic of a wife to be near my kids. I also refuse to subject George to the abuse. We tried. We thought this was a rough period that would eventually pass, that everything would be okay, but unfortunately, Ella became more and more bitter and disgusting. We will see my parents, but I am standing my ground, and I will not go to their house if she is present. David and I cried a lot, and for the first time in many years, I felt like I had my brother back. He apologized over and over again and explained a lot of things to me, which gave me a chance to understand him better. But at the same time, I was so angry that I had no idea what was happening to my brother. Some people said that David was a rebound for Ella, but it seems like they were both a rebound for the other. What made them marry so fast was the age pressure. My brother was feeling like it was very hard to connect with someone, and the prospect of being able to have a family of his own seemed very far away until Ella came and offered him the possibility to have exactly what he wanted without too much struggle. So yeah, in the end, I guess we were all some messed up people in one way or another. I don't know what's going to happen. David said he plans to take some time, go away alone for a couple of days and think about what he wants to do. But he said that when he'll be back, he wants to have a chat with George to apologize to him as well for everything that has happened. My brother knows that everything Ella says is false. He said everyone is able to see how much George loves me and that we make a great couple, and there are times when he wished to also have something like this in his life. He told me he's proud of the woman I have become and that no matter what happens, I will always be his little sister. After this, I went home and cried some more with George beside me. I've tried to play strong and deny myself to feel hurt for so long that yesterday I have finally exploded. But it was good because now I feel better. And that's the only update I was able to find. I don't know if there's going to be more, but OP, I'm glad that David finally saw the light of day with what you explained to him, and I really hope for the better that he does leave Ella, because again, she's unhinged, she's just escalating everything, and I have a feeling she's gonna come out and say, yeah, I'm having an affair with George, which we all know is bullcrap. She seriously needs some help here. Again, not the dingus. I'm glad you and your brother were able to reconnect though. Looks like we've reached the end of today's video. But fret not, I'll be back Monday with more Reddit stories just for you. Want to get notified of the next video? Tap that bell icon. Want to subscribe? Tap the button. It's completely free. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, catch you later, my Chibi Dominators.